touch upon the fact that, you know, old Cobble used to be a heavily CT-sided map. Nowadays,
Actually, this
with the
looks
changes
like...
that...
Oh, no, it's all decoys.
Yeah.
No, it is all decoys, so it is going to be the knife.
But yeah, but like with the changes Valve have made to the maps on Cobblestone, this is actually not, you know, such a death sentence to actually start on the T side anymore, which it has been, you know, historically speaking in this game. So that's a pretty fun thing to see, and I've really taken a liking to this new Cobble.
I think it's been awesome to watch. I know that, look, from a player perspective, there's still certain people who don't like it. I think it's a lot more balanced. Threat actually said it facetly, and he thinks it could be 9-6 T-side once teams get to know it. But as a spectator, and for just sheer development, watching the meta change with each team that plays it, watches things, you know, watching things become normal, I guess, evolution of the map, I think it's awesome to watch. I think it's really fun to just watch teams experiment with things. You know, it's one thing when we go into Dust 2 and we see how, like, coordinated and, you know, perfect they are at peeking and how well they know every angle, but it's another to watch them find that and overstep it a little bit and make mistakes here and there.
Oh yeah, one of the really cool things about Counter-Strike is the fact that, you know, it's constantly evolving, and with new maps you're going to see, well, you know, larger scales of innovation really from the different teams, and that's really fun to see, especially when you've been watching CS for quite some time, a couple of years. Then you notice that some things are kind of bread and butter, as you'd say, and, you know, on a map like Dust 2, you know, everybody knows the angles, they know what to do, they know all the flashes and all that stuff, but on a map like Cobble, new stuff can still happen quite frequently, and that's really cool to see. And to see if that kind of catches on amongst other teams as well. So let's say VP pulls out a boost that nobody's seen before, if that just becomes the norm from that point on.
Oh, 100%, 100%. I think it's really, really cool. And that's why I've always been an advocate for a larger map pool personally, but here we go, we get things underway. Virtus.Pro starting out on the CT side, actually going to designate quite a heavy position over at Ace with Neo, Snacks, and Taz waiting, so this lightens up B a little bit. And it looks like we're Na'Vi on their map choice. Cobble want to start things off on the attack. Bialy back at the chicken coop. Now Taz comes over, so once they get the information by pushing out today, they rotate back, but look at Na'Vi. They want to put 3 players right over this drop position and get inside the site, divide and conquer. This will cut off the rotation a little bit. They need to be careful, and Pasha's going to get caught first. Guardian, the man who is late, contributes early. He's got the first kill as Snacks now needs to come around. Excellent one-tap. Zeus does go down. He catches Flamey jumping desperately toward the alley. And it's all left to Edwards, so they might have gotten 3 down drop, but they didn't get much further than that. Good hold by Virtus.Pro.
Yeah, and the pistol round just from the get-go from Virtus.Pro was all about getting map control, and you could see how quickly they went aggressive towards that A-halls with Neo, and as soon as he clears out mid, they know instantly what's going on from Navi's side, so they rotated forward towards that B-bomb site, and since Na'Vi opted to go for full armor, no nades, they're kind of stuck. They kind of have to rely on hitting their shots, and as long as VP are in a better situation in terms of positioning, then there's not a lot Na'Vi can do.
So this time things will be changed for Na'Vi, who look to put a little bit more pressure, or at least presence, toward the mid of the map. In this particular round, we do see a lot of SMGs out, no surprise. Pasha's going to go for the Mag 7. He'll be up close on the B connection, but again, that's not where they are. Guardian tries to go for that one shot on Neo. Did spot him up, and now he's got to run away and hide. This gives Snacks the position to support with the M4, and as they come around the corner, he gets dropped immediately. The Tech 9 gets the better of it. Now the Deagle trying to overwhelm on Neo, and they've done the job. They've done the task. The rotation has to come over, so Na'Vi could be looking at a potential bomb plant in round 2. Problem is they invested into it, so they won't yet necessarily be in a full position to buy in the next round unless they win this, of course. And that looks like it could be the exact case as Pasha finds himself all alone. And although he's got a hot fire Mag 7, he's going to have to be more than on fire right now. Really well done by Natus Vincere to collect on the 2 players that were pushed up, and without them holding, it's just such a solid retake. Shotgun does do damage, but he's dinked down to 3 HP. One more peek, and it's all over, and he doesn't get caught with the nade out. He doesn't. Has a chance here still, but Zeus spams through, and he's going to collect them. So 1-1, good response.
Yeah, very solid from Na'Vi. A bit of a wonky setup from VP. They had one guy initially holding that middle area, and when he smoked it off the doors as Na'Vi went through. And I think the biggest issue, or the biggest problem that VP ran into, was the fact that they both ended up in close combat with Na'Vi towards that site. I would have much rather seen them back off towards the A-bomb site and have the rest of the VP players, you know, get a chance to rotate over before Na'Vi's just completely taking control over the site.
I think poor Flamey wanted that M4 that he dropped. He stood there in, like, despair once his teammate picked it up and ran away with it. Either way, we'll see them try to utilize this one M4 they picked up. That was Neo's, or rather Snack's, excuse me. We saw him go down first, and then the two AKs. They do have one MP9, but already Neo's getting back into them with his MP9. He finds Guardian. Zeus makes up for it, though. Gets right back in, uses the gun better in his hands. This Flamey, long shot onto Bialy at B connector, takes him down, and Pasha thinks they're up close, so he goes back out. That's a double peek for a long shot with a Mag 7. And he realizes that was ill-advised as he goes down to 10 HP and has to fall back inside the site. So they've given themselves a bit more room here, Na'Vi, to try and push them out of position on the defensive side. And they've already got them separated.
Yeah, and with Pasha taking such a defensive positioning after that double peek, this is Na'Vi's site right now. And there's no way they're going to be able to retake this with a Mag 7 and a Deagle. So this is going to be another round for Na'Vi, but, you know, valiant effort at the beginning there. Quite a few low Na'Vi members on their side. You've got Zeus on 13 HP, Flamey on 34, so that could have very easily been a couple of more kills and maybe a momentum shift for VP, but still quite a big investment because they opted to go for the Force Spy in this round. So that's why you're seeing both Pasha and Taz deciding to save their weapons because they want to hold on to that armor.
Yeah, exactly. So Na'Vi will go up 2-1 on the back of their second round eco. Obviously it's a Force Spy second round with pistols, but I still call it the eco, essentially.
Oh yeah, well they don't really have that full equipment. They don't have rifles, and it's pretty. Yeah, it is an eco really, but they don't stand to lose that much from it. That's pretty much the only difference.
Little knife troll at the end, but here we go again. And again, VP still can't buy out, so saving, like you said, to hold on to whatever they had. They won't invest too much in. They will bring a Deagle and head armor onto Taz, though, so he was slightly ahead in the economy. That's why he does it. The others, they go to P250s and CZ75s. Or Neo, I suppose, who went to the MP9. And a split play this time for Na'Vi, by the way.
Yeah, this is a similar setup from what they did the previous round. You saw Seized and Flamey just kind of holding off, really, towards that B-bomb site while the three guys in mid did most of the work initially, and they're going to do the same thing again. So you're going to see Edward sneaking up that B-slope together with Guardian and Zeus. Now it's all up to Neo. Neo might be able to pick up a frag here.
He's going to try to lurk through. That flash does get dropped inside the smoke, and he comes out behind them, but he's so far away. The MP9 can't do anything, and the bulldozer fight's going to go on. It might be a needle. Works like a sewing machine. Zeus comes back around and sews him shut. Neo does drop down. Bialy trying to hold bottom side a drop, but there are already two players down, and the site, A site rather, has been given up completely to Na'Vi. So not much they could really do, despite Neo's best efforts.
Yeah, is that one of those unfortunate situations where you wish you'd rather have a 5-7 maybe? It's probably easier to get that one kill there. Obviously, it's not going to give you that much money for it, but you might have been able to pick up a kill, delay the push from Na'Vi, and get a rotation in. But Na'Vi just playing it super safe with the standard anti-eco setup.
And we're going to have a pause incoming, I think, as most people have noticed. Because unfortunately, Taz has departed the server. He's left us. Snack's making this interesting, at least. Does manage to recover the M4, but he's running over toward the A site. Needs to get himself out of there because Guardian spotted him coming over. This does put Zeus in a good position to try and hold him there, but he's got full HP. He won't, in fact... Okay, so that's interesting. It's only 7 damage from that far to the bomb radius. I'm still learning the bomb radius on these maps.
Yeah, well, it actually matters quite a bit where you on the bomb site you plant it, and VP opted for a plant fairly far back on the bomb site, so that's going to do a lot for you. It's kind of weird, actually, like a difference of, you know, it's kind of hard to calibrate in terms of meters or feet in game, but, you know, one length of a player model, I guess, could be the difference of, you know, maybe 30 damage on any given map. You'll notice that on Inferno, depending on, you know, whether or not you want to save in pit and not, like, depending on where you've planted, sometimes that's just not possible.
I know exactly what you mean. But I find it really... I think... What map was it the other day? Maybe it was this map. There was a map... Oh, no, it was New Train. That's what it was. And we were discovering that the difference between being on the stairwell to head toward ladder, the upper stairwell of the B tunnels, it does very little damage, but as soon as you go through the doorway at the top of the ramp, it does a ton of damage. And I think vice versa with the opposing side. If you're on the upper balcony, like the ledge, I guess, whatever you want to call that, the upper hallway... you know, the default post-plant position. If you go right to the corner, it does very little, but if you push out a lot, it seemed really, like, inconsistent.
Yeah, it definitely does, and I think that's kind of a common theme with CSGO and, like, how much damage the bomb does at times. I guess well, at least I haven't figured out quite or I haven't been able to make sense of it to make it a complete science, to put it that way.
Yeah, I'd love to go in and just like play around, but it would take a while to really figure out every single situation and
It's a lot of bomb barriers to cover if you want to figure out the exact info.
Essentially, everyone just says if you're here, you're safe. If you're here, you're not. Whether that's dead accurate or not, it still is a good enough reference point for these players to know where to save and where not to. And I mean, that's pretty much what everyone's going to attempt to do.
Yeah.
No one's going to go in and figure that out. That's science anyway. That's just me being overly investigative.
No, but yeah, it goes off of feel, and that's why you rarely see people die to the bomb, and only sometimes, when players get down to low HP, they'll at times go up with the bomb, but that just happens very, very, very rarely. Yeah,
occasionally people make the mistake not realizing they think they're safe, but they don't account for how low HP they are too. So I've seen actually. Maybe this is a North American mistake, but I've seen it actually a few times last week in the ESEA Pro League where there was players thought they were in a safe zone or were lurking for that, that exit player looking for that last kill, and they leave themselves just inside the radius with something like 20 HP, and they think, oh, I'm probably safe here. No, you're not, because you didn't do the math there.
Yeah.
It's a mistake that can happen.
Yeah. I think it was the infamous back authentication error, that one.
He dropped super quickly, so I would say that would be the case, because if that were the common problem everyone assumes that it is, it would actually take time to knock the internet offline. It would have been actually quite evident coming into it. So I think that had to have been back authentication.
Yeah.
Or something immediate system-wise or something along those lines, because he went out in a heartbeat. He was gone out of the server instantly, so...
Yeah, and I'm actually kind of curious as to why that bug is still there, because that's been around for a while now, the back authentication error.
One of the problems that the pro players have, though, is that they travel so much and they're logging in from so many different areas that Steam doesn't recognize them. It's almost like they need to get added to a blacklist.
Well, yeah. That might be a solution, but, it would have been nice to know what really causes it at any given time and, actually have a solid solution for it, because I guess that's the biggest problem that people run into, the fact that there's not really a solid solution for it. Sometimes it works just logging in and logging out and getting back on into the server, and sometimes you have to verify your game integrity cache and all that stuff, and sometimes just whatever you try doesn't work at all, so then you have to go on to Smurf account. Sometimes that doesn't even work, so players are kind of left without many options.
The other issue with
go-to moves.
The other issue with going to a Smurf, is money issue. You don't come in, eBot doesn't recognize you right away. You have to then medic it, which, although that seems simple, it is fairly simple in the process of medicing it. You just basically transfer the file to the new player, the new stats. It can actually cause a corruption in eBot. It's not so much a corruption, but it's a malfunction, I guess you could say.
I think we ran into that problem the last game we did together, which was LGB, in the Counterfeit League, the qualifiers.
The qualifier, yep.
Yeah, with LGB, because Rubino got the back authentication error.
Yeah, but if you come in with the Smurf, sometimes eBot can trip over itself because it starts accumulating stats for too many players, and it gets confused, which actually happened at CCS at DreamHack Bucharest, where it, for whatever reason, I don't know if I was being an idiot and doing something wrong upon joining the server. It's possible. I'm not, sometimes I do make pretty stupid mistakes, but it was trying to grab me out of spectator and put me on a team, and it caused the server to crash twice for whatever reason.
It just realized your true worth, really. That's what was happening.
I doubt that it realized. I mean, it could put me and try and tally my stats, but it would probably crash trying to figure out how to go into the negative score.
That's rough. I think you're being a tiny bit harsh on yourself, but,
I am a little bit. I do agree.
But yeah, but I guess, the one upside, I guess, of having coaches readily available is the fact that, if there's no solution to be found, well, I guess as I say that, I had to jinx it because now Stark's got a back authentication error.
This is amazing. The good news is it's Starks and not Cuban, because Cuban would be the player that would have to step in at this point. But you're dead right. That is a cool advantage of having the coach, and also the admin who's directly in the server. Coach can jump in at a heartbeat if they need to as well. So as quickly as Taz went out, if you can't get this solved in the allotted time for teams to solve issues, he would be there, because more and more teams. This is a debate we're going to actually talk about this week on the podcast. Is professionalism in esports, and how to cover off your bases. Teams not doing their obligation now that we're at this level, and pretty soon teams are going to have a committed fifth nearby, whether it's the coach or just someone on standby in a mumble. I mean, it's becoming a more and more problematic issue. So it's they're definitely cool that they're already in the server.
I think the issue with having a sixth man in pretty much any esport game is the fact that that guy has to be around at any given time. Whenever the team practices or whatnot, in order to be like a fully fledged member of the team, even though it's a sub. And I guess that's kind of where the benefit of having a coach comes in, because he's around, because it's his job to, sit through practices, know all the tactics and all that stuff. So sure, he might be, I guess, a step down from a potential step in terms of individual skill, but he's going to be able to blend in with the team a lot easier than any random step in would.
Well, the coach would be the most obvious step in from that regard, because he's already part of the organization, but it would be almost like if leagues wanted to have a standard sixth. No one, okay, no, I shouldn't say no one, but most people don't want to sit on the sidelines for a season. It's like being the reserve driver in Formula One. Do you sit around and say, I get to test on Fridays occasionally, or do I go race in the DTM or World Endurance Championship and continue progressing myself as a player, in this case as a driver, and hope I get the chance later? It's an age-old debate. Exactly. And I have a friend who actually chose not to be the reserve driver for the Mercedes Formula One team, and it was turned out to potentially haunt him, but he was still racing and he was happy with that. Anyway, point is, it's almost like the leagues now need to say, if you have a sixth man, he can be on contract to another team. And let's say if he's Virtus.Pro's sixth, but he plays for Navi full-time, once he plays 3 matches in that league for Navi, then he can no longer play for Virtus.Pro.
Yeah, his roster.
So, exactly. You get a lock or something like that. Because that way there would be more, that way teams could have more of a base covered for this issue. Yeah. Or if there was sort of one stand-in for multiple teams, that once he plays a certain amount of matches for one particular team, or if he plays 3 matches across the league as a stand-in, then he has to pick a team or something like that. But it would just give a pool of players that you could potentially get in a lot quicker in these situations who are also active.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess the pipe dream is that hopefully we can get Valve to sort out this type of thing so we don't have these errors. But it's better to have a backup plan than sitting they're twiddling your thumbs and hoping for the best.
Well, we still await the decision on what's going to happen, so I haven't actually got an update from the admins, but we are in the same position again. Kuben's here. If the admins pull the trigger, Kuben could have to be stepping in right now and getting underway right now as the 5th player for Virtus.Pro, because again, we come back to professionalism. There's an obligation for the leagues to continue things on. Obviously, all these spectators are here in chat waiting for this to get back underway. There's a standard that has to be upheld, so we'll see what the case is going to be here in this situation.
Bialy said it was incoming, so at least in chat. So crossing fingers. As you can see, Guardian's already suggesting using a Smurf account, but apparently Taz, he doesn't play that. He's all about rocking out on his main account. Guardian's even offering him to give him a Smurf account now.
Just don't steal your skins, bro.
Ooh, that would be actually hilarious if Guardian lends Taz his
they
account
beat him,
and
they take the skins.
That would be amazing.
Guardian. That would be pretty hilarious.
That's one way to start a rivalry.
Yeah. Every time he beats them, he can have 1 skin back. So they have to beat them, like, I don't know how many skins. Let's say he has 20 skins. He has to win 20 games to get all his skins back.
Yeah.
It would take Navi 40 years. Kappa.
Well, Taz is actually back on the server now.
Well, we should get back underway. I don't think they're going to wait for Starix. I know that he, like you say, he had the same issue and dropped out of that coaching position, but I don't think there's any reason to go, yeah, Taz just calling for money. When he rejoined, he didn't get his money back the way it was. I went to 2,000, so I think that was where he was on the previous round.
Well, now Bialy gets the back authentication error, so
goodness.
I guess we've got some time to give Taz his money back.
This is too good. This is amazing. Please, Volvo, please work with us just once. That's how I feel about it.
I'm just expecting as soon as Bialy gets back, someone from Navi's going to drop out now.
Another one bites the dust. This is too good.
Yeah. Well, I guess Bialy has Smurf accounts.
Yes, I assume Bialy does. He seems like the type of person that could go into servers just to troll people.
Yeah, so maybe, crossing fingers, he'll hop on a Smurf account and be in on the server rather quickly.
Hopefully. I'm hoping so, because I would love to get this back underway. But again, it's 3-1. We're going to see guns come out now for Virtus.Pro. They did their pistol round perfect. Let's go back and just talk about what they can do here, getting into these gun rounds a little bit, because we've got the time. We might as well talk about theory. The pistol round was really good. They pushed up. They got the information that there was no one out in that courtyard, so they had basically one go up the long, one get in toward danger, realized no one was here, and then Taz rotated right back into B immediately, and that allowed them to cover off the 3 players. That's supposed to be a 3. Way to go, input lag. That dropped into the drop position. But then the next round, they overcommit to B. They get torn apart at A, and they have to play for a retake. Never happened. So how do they get the early read? Do they stick with a standard, sort of a sandbag player inside the connector until they get information at A?
I think the way to go for VP is basically setting up something similar to what they did in their pistol. Obviously, you can vary the level of aggression that you put out on the A halls, but just initially having one guy playing forward in A apps, one guy holding off the doors in mid, and just playing off of that, because even though it's a pretty big map, the rotation times aren't that long for VP, especially for the guy in mid. He can fairly quickly get over towards drop room from mid if things were to go down. If Navi decides to opt for a B split with drop room and long hauls being the points of entry, then there's still a lot of things that VP can do to hold them off and allow the guy in mid from VP to rotate over. So I think a 2-3 setup is definitely viable, especially when they're on low econ, which they are now. They don't really have the money to set up for a potential double op setup, or just having Neo roam around with an op alone in A apps. So I think that's the way to start things off, and then just kind of feel your way from there on out, because we haven't really seen anything Navi have done, in a proper buy round yet, seeing how we're so early on. So VP still have to kind of figure out what's going on and what Navi would, what their tendencies for their T side are.
I know we said we were going to talk theory, but I'm noticing the hilarity of these 2 guys setting up another 1v1 with Pasha, and this time it looks like it's going to be $1,000, so that'd be cool.
Yeah.
If this becomes a regular thing, we're going to have to get casters in there. Anders and Semler can go ahead and cast the one-on-one.
Yeah, did you see, I think the 1v1 between Pasha and Olaf passed 80,000 viewers?
I can totally believe that. I didn't actually catch it until right at the end. I tuned in just as it finished, because, again, it was... The weird thing with EU is either I have the whole day off and I can watch the EU, because being in Canada, I'm East Coast, so I'm really close in terms of time zone, but a lot of times it's in the middle of the afternoon, and if I have errands or something to run that day, I can't designate my whole day to that and then casting in the evening. So occasionally I miss stuff, and I tried to tune in for it, and I just missed it. It just finished.
But
I knew Olaf
won. About 6 hours behind or ahead?
I have to think about ahead. Why am I so confused? I'm 5 hours ahead of the current of CEST. So
okay, yeah.
I don't know why I confused myself with that. That was pretty simple.
Yeah, that kind of that works out nicely for you actually, with when Europeans play, I suppose, for the most part. Yeah, seems like no. Okay, no, never mind. I thought we were going live because I saw Ebot running scripts, but.
Wait, I still got it wrong. Someone in chat said I'm behind. Why would I say ahead? It's afternoon here. You guys are at night. Yeah, see, I was thinking in reverse because I'm so used to being in Romania and doing it that way. Yeah, you guys are ahead of me. You guys are in the evening. It's still sunny outside. Well, rainy today, but it's still afternoon here.
Yeah, yeah. So when they start their 1v1s at midnight CEST, it's prime time.
Yeah, I don't know why that was so confusing, and it still got me. God damn. People are asking who picked the map, so there's a look at our map pool and who picked them. So obviously Cobble picked up by Navi, and like we say, they have the lead on another T side. So 3 rounds is a decent start on this map, in my opinion, actually, on T, because it makes it a lot easier. And like you were saying, there's a lot more different things that we can see VP do. I think this is one of the things that Moses and I have been debating, because we saw Adren's video about Happy lurking at the drop position and how it can actually get down and cut off rotators, or it can help support take the site. But I don't think drop alone is enough to take the B site, because you still have to fight your way in. I think you have to, if you're going to take B, you still have to win the connection point, the long connector, the end of the hallway.
Yeah, I think the most effective way of doing it is how Fnatic played it. during Katowice. Although that was kind of Olafmeister being, in
he's
top
insane
form,
at that position. He's insane there. I think that's his best spot on any map right now.
Yeah, because he's able to just open up sites, and it's just like he doesn't even have to commit at all. But as long as he's able to pick that one pickup from long B halls, it forces a rotation 100%. There's no way the opposing team can leave that B.
And that's kind of where I was going with it, because if you commit one player onto the drop, you're usually going to have so let's say the player out at B, and then the third player is either henhouse, statue, or playing close to the alleyway to get the shot into either spot and support. And as soon as this guy goes down, this guy at the statue, that support player, has to rotate long. And then if you lose either one of those next two players, the site's basically open. So whether it's drop, if you get one pick at long and then you get one more either at long or at drop, you pretty much have the site. So it really only takes 2 picks to enter there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I do think that's why long halt is more important than drop room. Drop room is nice and all, but I think it works better as a means to do backstabs with, rather than getting control towards the B bomb site or forcing the opponent's hand.
We might have to sub you in, Vendetta.
I could do it. I speak excellent Polish.
Oh, I did not just see that. Who's missing and why are they missing?
No, well, Flamey disconnected, but that was just like a casual disconnect. So I'm assuming he just was about to reconnect,
okay.
because Taz did the same
a
couple of minutes ago.
Might have been
yeah, Flamey's joining now. Yeah.
I was scared we were going to have another, and I was going to yell at Gaben publicly.
There always has to be one, so I'm just waiting for Bialy to get back on the server and for someone else to drop out.
Man, this is crazy.
Well,
I thought Bialy had an ult. So this has been a pause time of roughly 10 minutes. We were supposed to start this match 44 minutes ago, and we're only 4 rounds in. I mean, this is kind of one of those situations where, although this is an unfortunate situation for the teams to be in, the admins could pull the trigger and just say, "Coach, get in," because Kubin's been sitting there in that 6th position.
Yeah, and Starks also had that back authentication error, roughly at the same time as Taz, and he's back in now. And, in case of someone from Navi also running into the same issue. The big problem with all of this is the fact that there's no real guaranteed solution to it. So, the teams can only do so much and kind of cross their fingers, hope for the best, and pray that it works. But if it doesn't, they're kind of out of options. And that obviously is not a fun situation to be in if you're the team affected. And, well, I say that Starks is all fine and dandy, but he gets another back authentication error. I just think I need to stop naming players, because that's that's when stuff goes bad.
Don't do it.
Could we get back authentication errors from sitting on a GoTV relay?
You should not. Because
I don't think there's VAC on relays.
I, knock on wood, have never had one, but if I get one right now, I swear to God, I will kill you.
I'm pretty convinced, because at least that's how it used to be back in 1.6 and back in Source and whatnot. There's no VAC on HLTVs or GoTV relays and that type of stuff, so people with VAC banned accounts could still watch games from the client.
Hey, do you know what I finally have done now that I've resituated myself back in North America a month after I've been home?
You've unpacked?
No, well, that too, but I finally got a new HTC. Because mine died, and I haven't had a phone, and people don't know that I'm, well, most people know that I'm back at this point, but some of my friends still think I'm in Europe because I haven't called them or texted them. So I've decided after a month that the M9 was my phone of choice, and thanks to HTC Esports, I'm now back in the real world.
Yeah, you know what? I actually saw. Well, actually, did you check out the Joe Rogan experience with nothing?
Oh, that's a great topic to bring up in this dead time. I did see that. In fact, I watched it afterward because I was casting this league during the time that it was on last week. I thought that was a really good podcast. It was super chill. It was relaxed. It addressed esports and competitive gaming and Twitch, not necessarily in the most serious way, but in a fairly good way for people who might be closed-minded about it to realize. I think Joe was really good about introducing it to, I won't say the meatheads, new eyes, the crowd that typically aren't into video games. I think that they would have been quite impressed with it. I thought it was really well done.
Yeah, it was just a really casual conversation, and they seemed to have fun with it. And I think one of the coolest things was seeing Joe Rogan's, absolute amazement by what actually goes on within esports. And I think that podcast in itself was one of the more popular podcasts he's had. Like just like initially, yeah, at least set a new concurrent viewer record for himself. So esports, man.
Yeah, and I think he was totally shocked as well because he's on Ustream, which is it's a reasonable site for that kind of. Oh, excuse me, press the wrong button. What am I doing? Pressing all the wrong buttons. It's a reasonable stream system for most non-video game related content. But he was shocked at how many viewers some of the Twitch people were getting, and like you said, it was the most concurrent viewers. It does. I think that as well kind of backed up the fact. I thought it was really cool they made mention of that on the show too, because it backed up the fact that there are a lot of people online. This is the new way of reaching people, and even Joe was kind of like, damn, what the hell? Like, how have we not one video game? This? Yeah, one video game show and related show, and suddenly we beat our viewer record. Like, is this that to me? Like, even if he was impressed by Twitch, he could have just been saying, "Damn, this is really cool. Damn, that's awesome." But whatever. It's a bunch of video gamers. Once the numbers hit his own channel, then he was like, "Holy shit, this is where people are. Like, this is the real deal." So,
yeah,
I mean, that's really pretty freaking cool. I thought that was really neat. So, way to go, esport community. And I love that whenever they were viewing a Twitch channel, people just came in and were like, Joe Rogan. Like, it even showed even further how powerful that the internet can be in that regard and how quickly you can reach something if you have the right audience to do it. So, there's definitely reach there. There's good frequency as well because it's quite current and nonstop in terms of channels that are live. So frequency and reach are the two big things that advertisers look for. So therefore, I mean, it's a huge investment for advertisers, which that opens the debate of professionalism, which we won't get into too much here. But I think it's definitely eye-opening. I think that they showed that off really well in that show.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of things going well, we're 10 people on the server now. So Viali's back.
C'est parfait. We'll get things rolling, and back underway. So I'll bring us back into game sounds and back into game. So 3-1's the score. We are going to have our first gun round. It looks like we do have money is fixed up, and here we go. We're unpaused, finally, but ready to go.
Yeah, finally getting back into things. And now, obviously, the big question is what Navi opt to do if they're going to set up something similar to what they did in the previous rounds with the anti-ecos. And from the get-go, it kind of looks that way. He sees them flaming going towards that B-bomb site, so they're going to probably be lurking around drop room and long halls, and then you have the trio going towards the apps here.
So Pasha wants to be the one that gets close towards long. Again, this is where Taz, we were kind of mentioning it, he can be a little more passive at drop. This will give him a swing position. It may mean he gives up the position initially, but they can hold it. And then he's still in a position for this rotate, which might be the wise call, because as we can see, and as you made mention of, the bomb is lurking over on that A position. Good smoke out, though, to cover off mid. Poor Chicken gets annihilated by the grenade, but Flamey's now going to lurk. And he spots Bialy. Well shot and well struck. Now Navi's got full choice of what they want to do, but Bomb's still heading toward A.
Yeah, and this looks like it. Well, if C sticks around, then he might be, playing that happy role with lurking and coming in from drop room once a rotation has been made, because this is definitely going to be an A take, and C's just going to be that constant worry for VP.
Snacks waiting with Neo, both holding the same angle, so double the power, double the trouble, and Flamey finds out the hard way. Look at Taz doing the double damage over toward Long, and Snacks turns back around. He'll find Zeus as well, and Taz, he knows he's got the bomb down, as do his teammates, so it's all left to this one lurk player unseized, and he is inside the B site right now. I think he's just going to sit tight in this corner and hold on desperately to both the Tech 9 and the AK-47 he has. So a good response from Virtus.Pro. They'll bring this back to 3-2 right away.
Yeah, very heavy rotation from VP, and obviously it works out in that sense. And I think this is one of the type of rounds where having that happy style lurker that Navi, opted for and sees, that won't really work for you, because they effectively try to take a site. Instead of having that advantage from getting potentially an early pick, that's completely gone. And now they just kind of went into battle, one man down, because Seized is not a part of the team anymore. He's just hoping, crossing his fingers that the rest of his team is going to be able to do enough damage to create enforced rotations from BP. And if that doesn't happen, then it's all lost. It's all for nothing.
And speaking of lost, I don't know if you're looking at the number of people in the server right now.
Yeah, apparently Edward managed to swap team, like over to the CT side. So he had to reconnect, and that's why it's paused. Which is something that doesn't happen too often, but it happens every now and again. I think it happened more in 1.6 when you had to buy ammo with, you know, comma and the dot.
Apparently, yeah. When it was pre-bound, you mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. You had, you know, M would be team select, and then you'd buy ammo with the comma button, and they're right next to each other. So you fat finger one of them, and you know you're already in your buy. You know,
this is why I switched my
mode.
buy keys way over to my numpad years ago in 1.6 because you're mashing keys a lot. I did get an update from our admins as well. Apparently, the VAC authentication errors have been quite common across the board right now. So other matches are having similar problems. So I don't know if it's a VAC server that just decided it wanted to be spasmatic today, but it's on a tear. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, apparently, Guardian says that Steam network is down, so who knows what's really going on.
It's possible. It is possible. I thought I saw someone in chat say Steam was down. I thought they were asking more than stating, but it's entirely possible that one of the servers is acting up.
Well, I mean, a lot of stuff is going on with Valve, you know, these days with hosting the TI qualifiers as well. So there's going to be a lot of traffic. Who knows? That might, you know, set things off balance. But hopefully it'll get back online in not too long. And, you know, this is not a scheduled maintenance for sure, because they normally do those at a different time of day.
Oh, I mean, that's the thing. Yeah, that's such a weird thing to me always. To get off track a little bit, but my brother works for a medical company that deals with bookings online, and he has to update in the middle of the night because that's when most of the clients are off. But with Steam, it's so worldwide, and so many people are playing, it's the lesser of two evils. By picking the non-peak hours, you're still affecting a lot of people to do some of those updates.
Oh, yeah. Huh. Well, I mean, I guess now it's all in the hands of Gaben, right? All we can do is wait.
Wait. And count our lucky stars that we'll get things rolling.
Yeah, so I guess I could get back on the topic of Joe Rogan and nothing really, you know. If you want to continue on with that. It was just a really nice presentation, I think, of the esports community in general and the streaming community. So it was a fun thing to watch. But okay, actually, Edward's back. He doesn't have any money though.
Yeah, they'll fix that. That'll be already adjusted and dealt with. Yeah, I mean, just to finish up the point on that show, I thought it was well done. I think props to Jordan as much as Joe too for being the right kind of demeanor to fit in with Joe. Obviously, the cool thing that I was like, obviously I know who Joe Rogan is, but I don't know as much about his life. So Jordan was able to counterpoints by what he was saying by relating it to Joe's life, which I think was really cool too, because that way it was more of an open dialogue than a one-way conversation. So I think Jordan did an awesome job. Yeah,
I think he did some research as well going into it, and reading up on what Joe's been doing. But yeah, we're back live. So good start. Hopefully we could get a couple of consecutive rounds going.
Well, that's the goal. That's the dream.
Yeah, and again, Navi's setting up with a similar setup as to what they've done initially in every round so far. I see some Flamey kind of lurking about towards that A bomb site, but it seems like they're converging towards that A bomb site again, and they haven't really given out that much info about, you know, to Neo and Snacks, so you haven't really seen the big rotation for VP coming in yet. But this is going to be a really similar play to what we saw in the last round.
And I just realized that I hotkeyed somewhere in there, but we're back. We'll get things rolling. We didn't miss any kills, but now they're all coming in. Neo's going to take down Flamey. Guardian finds Snacks. It's well executed as now Edward coming up the ramp has found the last remaining Virtus.Pro directly inside the site, so now they have to rotate over. Pasha does so quickly and effectively. He'll find Edward before he can cross into the site, and unfortunately, the bomb hasn't made it over that far yet, so they still have a chance to shut this down, but there's no one up in the Preacher spot anymore, so they will sneak across. C's going to throw the bomb up. Well played. Guardian catches it. He'll put it in place.
Bomb has been planted.
And now we've got a good chance here for Na'Vi to hold because Virtus.Pro went very passive. That flash comes out. Guardian peeks immediately afterward and takes it down, but now it's a one-on-one. Bialy finds C's. Guardian trying to get aggressive again. There's no stopping this guy. He comes over the top, but he doesn't land the shot, and Bialy now has full information and catches him on the second effort. He does get tagged down to 7 HP, but Bialy, he'll win the one-on-one, and Virtus.Pro tie things up right away.
Bomb has been defused.
Yeah, like solid retake from Bialy right there, you know. Clutching the situation. Kind of curious as to why Ceased opted to go back through middle instead of actually functioning as that lurker. If they want to have him posted up towards that B area for so long and not be a part of that initial A take, I don't see why not follow through with the backstab from drop room, because there they actually got some initial kills and they traded fairly evenly. So that's like a prime opportunity for Cease to actually get some damage done from behind.
Seized already gets down drop. Bialy had no idea he was already in position, so now they have a chance to split this site. This is what I was talking about, the second player. If they get 2 picks, they can overwhelm it. They've got them. Now they just have to take down Pasha, who's waiting inside this henhouse. And as quickly as that, Guardian's going to slow down Neo on the rotation, so perfect execution from Na'Vi. 2 picks, support player down, site opened up, smokes to cover off. Snacks has nowhere he can get back in, although he has lurked his way through and somehow found Flamey, but good response from Edward, who was very, very quick and very aware. So, Natus Vincere, I think that was a much better round for them. And again, you get 2 picks, you pretty much can take the site.
Yeah, and that was such a big tempo change from Na'Vi as well, because the first 7 rounds we've seen, they've set up in a fairly calm manner. They've been just slowly taking their time moving around the map, and this time they just bomb rushed straight into drop zone and Ceased caught off 2 early entry frags, and that was it. That was the bomb site loss, because there's nothing Pasha can do to really stay alive for that long from the hen house.
So Pasha has to hold at long, tries desperately, but without the armor, the aim punch on the P90, he couldn't even land a shot. So Flamey takes a little bit of damage. He did go down to 6 HP, but he ends up winning the duel. And Seized finds Bialy. He's going to check the henhouse, overexposing himself a little bit to Neo, but Neo didn't spot him, so he manages to turn back around with the AK and get the shot. And the bomb will go in position. Not much that Taz and Snacks can hope for other than exit kills, so they'll sit stationary and wait for them to run by. Actually, I take that back. Snacks wants to get a little more aggressive. But Taz, he'll wait outside, just lurking on the opposing side of the windowsill.
Yeah, with so many rounds, going back and forth, and VP losing quite a few members in every single round of them, their money is just all over the place right now. So you can see that Pasha, even though they're, full ecoing now, Pasha's down to 1,500, so he's not going to be able to get a goodbye if VP decide to force up, and that's when you get into these kind of awkward situations where if you're on the favorable side, being on CT, so you don't want to give away too many rounds from Na'Vi, and then you're in that awkward situation where you have to ask yourself whether or not you want to force buy or not, and that's what VP are deciding to do. But this is a massive investment for them. If they lose this round, it's back to potentially double eco, and Navi's going to have a massive lead.
Virtus.Pro with 2 players in drop actually right now. I thought initially, until they heard the footsteps coming up the stairs, they were going to go for the reverse boost, but they think better of it. This does put a lot more pressure on Pasha, though, with just the shotgun, because based on the positioning of Bialy, he has to nail the shot through the alleyway, and if one smoke goes out, he's covered off, which means then he has to rotate out behind the statue, and that would be the similar timing of someone to enter the site, so it would basically be playing for position inside the site, not at the entry point. Regardless, though, Taz looks like he's going to do the early damage to Flame. He goes to the reload, and Bialy covers him off. Seized was already tagged down before that, so that's a good trade-out. Well played, and Pasha, the jumping shotgun. Never ceases to amaze me.
Now, yeah, Navi just find themselves in a really rough position. Bialy goes down, takes down Suze as well, and it's all down to Edward, just lurking about in mid. And at the start there, Navi set up with the same, secure default setup that they've been doing for most of the game, but with them not getting any frags in drop room and getting picked up so easily, then it just made the round impossible for them really to find any openings. Especially with Pasha, jumping around with the Mag 7. They could have potentially done something with 3 players live before Guardian gets picked off, because if he picks off Pasha, then all of a sudden he gets a lot of room to work with, and he can pick off people rotating either in from connector or from drop room. But VP doing a good job with limited money, and now Pasha's gotten on op.
Look at Snacks, how aggressive he's being, with a nade out just for the movement speed to try and get that shoulder peek. Figure out exactly where they are. And they'll go for the boost this time to put Pasha up unsighted with the op. He actually lines himself up. That looks intentional to see exactly where he was standing. And Navi want to try and take this drop again, and we saw how well Bialy and Taz played it together. Well, as we can see, Taz isn't there this time, and neither is Bialy. He's way inside the site, so they could actually overwhelm them and split onto A, potentially, through that drop position. Bomb is down inside the B tunnels, though. Someone's going to have to go back for that.
Yeah, you can see Zeus starting to rotate over towards that B bomb. Says this is going to be a B take. And the big question is whether or not Taz can figure that out, so they actually make a proper rotation over towards the B bomb site, because otherwise it's going to be really hard for Viali and Pasha to actually hold this off.
Bialy is in decent position, but now he realizes it. An excellent awareness. They turn back. Pasha catches 2 a drop because they gave it up. They knew they had to check it, and Pasha's going to go further. He finds 3. Can he get 4? Just barely missing out on that shot. Takes some nade damage, but he's still alive and decently well on 86 HP. Sees, meanwhile, will catch Taz, but there it is for Pasha, and he's going to get all 5. Pasha with the ace, holding on like an absolute demon with the op at the B connection, and that's what we talked about. A dynamic op player can be used so well inside the B site.
Yeah, and that round pretty much goes the way of VP with that first fire they get onto the upper and dropper from Na'Vi. If he picks up 1 there, then that makes, you know, that leaves Bialy in a position where he has to cover two pressure points at one and same time, and that's just not possible. It was just really solid work, and again, aggressive push from Na'Vi coming into drop him. C's already through.
Sees will find the first on Bialy. Tech 9 doing all the work. Turns back, finds Taz. Guardian now 1D against Snacks. Has to go on this re-entry. Does find the first quite quickly. Second as well, equally as fast. This gives himself a bit of a chance as he brings it down through the smoke. Snacks is a menace this time. We saw the last ace go the way of Pasha. Snacks wants to do it now. Edward, though, will catch Neo, and now Snacks has to do it. It's 1-on-2. He knows exactly where one player is. What he doesn't know is where the second is, and he's actually lurking through the doors. He might just go past him and try and get toward A. This would leave him out of position on the retake, although it does divide Edward as well, and Stacks actually may go worse than that. He may get caught right now by Zeus, who knows that he's dropped through. But that smoke allows him, so he's going to realize this. Na'Vi are definitely going to A at this point. They've already pulled out of that. And when does Snacks make the call? When does he make the realization that nobody is home on B? And I think he's just done it now as he slowly fades back. The problem is that Zeus is waiting as he's thrown the bomb back to Edward, and Zeus is going to catch him.
And again, that round is all about C's. C's with that quick push into drop room. It's caught VP off twice now. And even though he only has a Tech 9, he's able to get 2 entry frags. That's just an insane amount of work from C's being done there. Obviously, Guardian following it up with a 1 dig onto the guy in Henhouse doesn't hurt, but that round is just made possible by C's. And I'm actually surprised that they're going back to that default setup they've been doing now, because the quick action into drop room has just been working perfectly for them.
Well, that works perfectly now as well as Edward comes through and finds Snacks. So the hero of last round already down and out of it, and Gotham's going to need another hero, and unfortunately it's not going to be Taz or Pasha. They've both fallen. It might be Neo, though. He's going to find Zeus, bring it back at least to a 4-on-2. He's still alive and well at the top of Danger, but Danger ensues as Zeus only gets lagged up. That could have been massive. And as he spams away, Neo will walk back in to take the duel and won't go much further, and Edward, what a round by him. He picks up his 3rd, and that's going to be Bialy that drops.
Again, quick execution from Na'Vi. That's really what's been working well for them so far this game. Just getting into the face of VP so fast that they're not allowed to get that rotation over, because the previous times they've gone towards A, it's been so slow that VP have been able to, you know, stack Taz over there as well, and all of a sudden you have 3 people in good positions that can help each other out and create crossfires.
And unfortunately, the solo player on A, Neo, already dropped. Virtus.Pro with these pistols, having given up 7 rounds. So we said that Virtus.Pro played this map. It's not like they're terrible on it. It's not like they're completely lost like some teams still appear to be. But they aren't necessarily a top-level team on it. And Na'Vi, who picked the map, seem to be in firm control right now. And Guardian, he'll find Snacks, wants to slide out and do more damage. Bialy desperate with the P2000 to find someone through that gap as there's no smoke on it. But Flamey tags him. Bialy still manages to land it. So that works out quite well as we see Pasha and Taz. They're just waiting for more people to push through. And Guardian, who spams through the smoke, he'll find another VP player as Pasha now is going to get caught. They've got a flank going out, and Taz can't do anything about either Seized or Edward coming from either side.
Yeah, so a fairly straightforward anti-eco from Na'Vi. Just pick it up a round that they should be able to get. But yeah, you know, you said it. VP not known for their Cobble play, but not that that necessarily means that they're, you know, bad at it. But this has been a map, you know, that in recent time has been Na'Vi's map choice, you know, versus VP. They've played them twice already in the last 30 days. Well, 3 if you include this game. And they've come away with the victory every time.
So pre-smoke drop this time. That says VP are definitely aware that they have been struggling holding it. They just want to do anything they can to hold a player in position. That's C's. In fact, he's going to fall off it as a result, so it buys them time for now. We'll see if that pays off later in the round. Pasha's already allowed Flamey by, but he doesn't allow much further. He actually realized and hurt him, so good counter peek. Needed to fall back into position before he got caught in the rotation point, though, in the transition, and he's done that too, so this is a good start from VP to hold the site this time.
Yeah, Flamey tried to do a flash through the smoke, but I don't think it actually went far enough to flash Pasha. I think it did more to hurt him than help him, actually, in that scenario. And you can see BP making that heavy rotation over towards B, so now there are 4 players just waiting for the initial, or, you know, the upcoming attack from Na'Vi, and this is going to be tough for Na'Vi to break.
And Pasha wants to be in this driver's spot again, but he needs to be aware that Guardian's peeking him, and Guardian with the op makes the shot. He wants more. He peeks back out, but Bialy counters it. Edward wants to get over drop. Taz still waiting, and who's going to win it? It's going to be Edward again, so Na'Vi tearing the site apart from above, but it's only Edward that remains because this time they don't get the double pick. They only get the initial at the long position, and Snacks will take down Edward, so that's a better hold again. If you're going to lose one of the 2 positions, you can't lose both players inside the site.
Yeah, and VP are just really making it work. Once they get a good, you know, feeling for what Na'Vi are doing every round, they manage to stack up on the right sites, and when they've been able to do so, they've been able to hold them off fairly well. And that's what we saw right there. 4 people on the site for VP, so even though Pasha goes down fairly early, Bialy is able to do a good job of holding them back.
Again, they double up, though, so it's really interesting to see, and this is kind of one of the points we made about doubling up and drop limits the connection point at B, which I think is actually in some aspects more important, and they won't have a support player on Pasha, so they're putting a lot of trust in him, but it doesn't even matter. Na'Vi wants to take A right now, and Edward's already found Snacks. Taz with the only kill so far for Virtus.Pro does mean it's a one-man advantage for Na'Vi, but that bomb has been dropped. That single player that went down was a rush toward the site to try and get it in place early, and he was caught, so now they have to essentially take back the site. They've got to retake what wasn't even theirs to begin with. And Edward's going to find Taz, make it a little bit easier, but Pasha's rotated over quickly. He's going to find one, sneaks back up on a whiff. He can't land it on C's. Luckily, the pistol does, because otherwise the round's essentially over. And now that it's a 2-on-2, Bialy can find Flamey, so Pasha pulls himself out of a hole that he potentially dug, and Guardian is in a bit of a bind right now, completely pinched between 2 players, definitely focused on where Bialy's going to come back up, but looks away at exactly the wrong time. Luckily, Bialy hasn't turned his sights, and Pasha doesn't matter. He gets him. We'll split the half, 8-7, but 8 rounds T-side looks pretty good for Na'Vi right now.
Yeah, and again, they opted for that fast push. Whenever they went fast so far in this first half, they've been having massive success with it, you know, whether it was towards A or towards B. But you know, that crucial thing that happened was really BP being able to pick up that bomb, as you mentioned. So with BP having to retake, or Na'Vi having to retake a site that they haven't really taken at all, that was just the crucial point for BP. You know, being able to actually set up a proper hold.
Just like to lay in our halftime break here. Now we're gonna get things rolling, get things back underway. Hopefully off to a smoother start in this half than we were in the first in terms of delays, so I shouldn't even have brought it up, shouldn't I?
BP going for something different than Na'Vi. They're focusing heavily on A here. They're just going to bomb rush right through mid-air and up in apps.
C's got behind them.
Yeah, C's just behind them. He might be able to backstab Neo here. Or several people, actually.
He needs to get there quickly. At least Zeus is holding them so they won't get pushed too far out of his vision, and there it is. He does come around eventually. He'll find Neo, he finds more, he finds Taz, and he almost gets the shot on the Bialy inside the site, who made it interesting once they got close enough over there to take those duels, but nonetheless, Na'Vi not only get 8 rounds T-side, they'll get this pistol on the CT side as well, and keep in mind, they actually lost the pistol in the first round. It was an eco round that started things off for them.
Yeah, and the rotation that Na'Vi makes there is just really nice. Obviously, could be a tiny bit of luck given their positioning, but it just worked out really nicely with Guardian falling back into sight, not giving BP anything to work off of initially, and having the backup from Zeus rotating in from connector. Just buying a lot of time, allowing for Zeus to come back from the aggressive A positioning in halls and picking up 2 frags that way. That was just really well done from Na'Vi.
And this time, a massively different play right now from Virtus.Pro.
Yeah, and quite a different buy-up as well from Navi compared to what we saw VP do. VP went mainly SMGs in their anti-eco, and they paid the price for it because they ended up in awkward situations versus Navi's Tech 9 rush. And you can see Edward having picked up a called easy pick-off on Pasha right there towards B. So yeah, a bit of a more heavy investment from Navi's side, but very well might work out.
Oh, Guardian peeks out, and all three did come through the door. So he gets the first exchange. They want to get the re-peek, and Bialy does manage to overwhelm that shotgun. So here comes the rotations fast and swift from Edward and Zeus, who try to get over to the site just in time to shut down Snacks coming in from long. So now it's all left to Bialy, and he does get caught by a rather rapidly sprayed M4, but Bomb was in position for them to cover it off quite easily. So Natus Vincere, they'll move up to 10 rounds, the first into double digits on map 1. Keep in mind, best of 2. Worst case scenario, they split it and go 1 point for the draw in the series, but I'm sure, based on the fact that everyone else who's played so far in the group stages has done that, they would love to get out in front with this 3-point victory in the whole thing. So we'll see if Navi can close this out.
Yeah, this time Navi opting to have 2 people towards that A-bomb side, not just Guardian alone. Guardian, again, opting to go for that Nova. Because he wants to rake in that extra eco money.
Oh, they need to be careful. VP's gone through drop, but I don't think they're aware that there's a player behind them, and that's exactly the case. Zeus comes out and gets a free shot in the back of Bialy, and now he has Snacks trapped. So we will see guns come out from VP this round, but those were 3 very, very swift anti-ecos. Much better than obviously what we saw Virtus.Pro execute in round 2. And it indicates to me that their CT side looks well orchestrated right now.
Yeah, so far so good, not being caught off guard by anything that VP throws at them. And they seem to be handling, quick pushes from VP rather well, at least so far. They don't really force the challenge on their end. They are happy to just fall back and take their time because they know they have the superior weaponry.
Good smoke off front of the connection point. That does allow them to wide wrap, though, on the entrance to B. They still have that sidestep potential. Guardian again going for the shotgun. Going to be playing it in a similar position, this time at the top of danger, not at the bottom. As we saw the chickens having a bit of a dance inside that smoke. Guardian just spamming. He actually is forced to fall back.
I'm actually surprised that he opted to shoot that many bolts through because that could have potentially been a sneaky position for him to take advantage of, but well, he's got to go aggressive.
He actually catches them off, yeah. Because
Yeah.
I think they expected him to drop back, so when he popped back out, Bialy didn't even react fast enough to take him down on the left side. And now Taz, though, he'll make up for it. He'll find Zeus. C's already drops as well. And Guardian, he went down before that, but there's the catch on the cross. This Flamey, an unsmoked doorway, leaves it open. And any open door, he'll take the opportunity. But there's Snacks, well and truly in great place and position at long. He'll find Edward coming back in, and Virtus.Pro do take the first gun round and their first round on this T side. So we're not out of the woods just yet for Navi. They might be in the lead, but they're not necessarily in the driver's seat just yet.
Yeah, Taz picking up that 1 frag onto Suze in connector right there did the round for VP. If he goes down there, then all of a sudden Suze is able to get control or regain control over that A-bomb site before VP can get a bomb plant down. But there, the aggression from Guardian in AABs. This is something that I kind of expected to see from VP, but they never got to that point economically speaking, where they could have 2 ops. But that's kind of the power it gives you, having that aggressive opera that can roam around in those A-halls.
Smoke out. Taz on the other side of it. Has to wait a little bit longer with this Galil. And this is the positioning I was kind of alluding to. Rather than committing 2 to drop like we saw from VP, we actually have Flamey back in the statue. He can now support both sides. He looks to his left, he covers off drop if the player goes down there. He looks to his right, he covers off Edward, who's in the middle of a reload. And look what it does. He finds Snacks and Bialy on the way through, and Edward just has to hold this position for the last remaining player, Pasha, because he knew he was still there. They didn't take him down, and that's a perfect support role right there from Edward.
Yeah, that was just really nicely played out as well because, well, Edward being behind that box, the way that Flamey put down the Molotov basically cut off that area. So even though Edward gets flashed out, has to reload, all that, nasty stuff when he's got a 4-man push coming towards him, it doesn't really encourage VP to run through that Molotov. So they basically stop that, are forced and funneled in towards Flamey. He's just waiting with open arms towards them, and Edward is able to come back later on to pick up Pasha. That was just a really solid setup from Navi.
And it forces the economy as well for Virtus.Pro because it's back to pistols right away. Look at C's, quickly comes back, realizes they're not out at long. He'll find 2 plus the assist on Snax' grenade catch, and then 2 more with the pistol, so 4 and 1. Huge rotation play. We've seen him stay aggressive at long a few times. Him and Guardian swapped at that time, and he pulls back just in time. That was really well done on the anti-eco, and now they've got 13 rounds.
Yeah, inching closer, and again, like, VP forced to buy up due to the situation they're in. They're not going to have the best of buys. They have a couple of nades, but you can see that some of the members have opted to go for, you know, grenades over weaponry.
Bounce nade up top, decent damage. Snax down to 57. He's the one with the Tech 9. Good flash though, but unfortunately for them, they don't know Flamey's also in this position, so he'll flash himself back in, and as they focus on one, he'll collect all the others popping out. Flamey does eventually go down though to Neo. It's back to a 3-on-3, even HP actually, because Zeus is on 4, whereas Pasha's on 11. So VP have a slight chance. Look at this though, this is really cool. They want to put seized up and over the top, try and get an immediate flank onto the players at long B, because they're trying to get in the post-plant positions here, so they're waiting patiently, hoping this is going to be a fortuitous position. The flash goes over. I think they've realized Seized is there now, but unfortunately Guardian found Bialy, and Seized killing Pasha puts a ton of pressure on Neo, and he's in a really awkward spot, as they will have the jump on him from either side, but not if he can dig him out of a hole quickly, and that's what he might try and do. Does actually get the shot on Guardian, down to 24, but it's all for naught. Na'Vi will take the round and put themselves on 14.
Yeah, smart decision for Na'Vi boosting up Seized there to get multiple angles on that retake. The fact that he finds Pasha out on, or might have been Pasha was in the corner, but you know, one of the 2 guys behind the box on that B plateau before he even spots out the guy hiding in the corner. That gave so much information to Na'Vi, and they were able to work off of that to retake the bomb site. And yeah, quick push coming in from BP here towards B.
And they do have a 4 spy in hand right now. 1 Tech 9, 1 Galil, 3 AKs, but already one of those is down. As Edward and Flamey are again going to contribute for 2 kills, or 1 kill apiece, I suppose, and then an assist and a double for Flamey. As Edward slides back out, the last player, Taz, look, I mean, this is just perfect positioning from Edward. Again, rather than having 2 players that drop, they leave it to 1 player. That allows Edward to slide out to the statue and play the wide angle and support. It's working perfectly for them.
Yeah, and again, they're doing a good job of not forcing unfavorable fights. You can see Edward could have easily just held his position behind that rock after throwing the Molotov, but he opts to, you know, swing around towards the B-bomb site and get a better angle for it, because he knows he has Flamey with him to hold that off. So that was just really, again, really well played, you know, between Flamey and Edward.
So 1 round only goes to VP on the T side so far, and it's not looking like they'll get more than that, because this is match point, and they're down 2 men already. Snax lobs a nade over. Zeus does what he can to dodge that. Gets dropped back down to 35 HP in the process, though, and Flamey's going to hold this angle. Neo comes through. He's got nowhere to go but into the grave. He's down and out already, and Pasha's way back toward the top of the courtyard. Courtyard does tag up 1 with the scout, goes for the second shot. I think he actually hit him further through the door. But Edward finds Snax lurking, as he so common does. And Pasha's going to find himself in a really awkward position right now, although that smoke's dissipating and he's not been spotted, so Pasha actually can come out on Guardian. He'll go back over with the Tech 9. He'll find Seized as well. Gets it down to a 1-on-3. Still a desperate position, though. That smoke's covered off by the bomb, but he'll switch over to an M4 to try and take these duels a little bit closer, and he hears one to his left, but does he spot him yet? It's Edward, and Edward gets caught with an aid, so they're throwing the lives away, and Pasha, this was a 1v5, and he's found 3.
Yeah, the 2 remaining members of Na'Vi, both down to low HP, so this could very easily go Pasha's way.
But he's in good position right now from Flamey, and he only needs 1 bullet with the M4. So he holds true, 16-8. They double up Na'Vi, double up on Virtus.Pro. They'll take map number 1 of the best